I want to talk about what happens when a person quietly exits the role they held in their family system and what happens after. I wasn't just a scapegoat in my family. I was a node in a distributed regulation system where the adults don't process emotions internally, so it gets spread across other people instead, especially children. So the children's nervous systems adapt around that unconscious distribution of tension, taking on roles that keep the system stable through things like soothing, absorbing tension, or carrying blame. Children learn that reality is negotiable. Emotions must be managed, not felt. Harmony matters more than truth. Naming reality causes harm. And stability depends on their own regulation. In the system, we respond immediately by saying what the other person expects us to say or responding in the predictable ways that we always have. But recently, I stopped doing that. I stopped responding to fill the space. I stopped performing warmth. If there's no potential for a clean exchange, then there doesn't need to be an exchange. In family systems, that is boundary work, non-participation. And in these situations, confusion often gets framed as conflict. When I don't explain myself or rush to soothe or match the emotional tone, that absence gets read as disagreement or tension, even when nothing is being argued. Neutral responses also get interpreted as withdrawal or even threat. And then the pressure is amplified. Pressure to respond, to come back into the role. An important distinction I want to make is that the system only responds to non-participation. Role refusal. When a role is removed, the system experiences that as disruption, even if the change itself is healthy, especially if the change is healthy. The system just starts to tip in absence of a function it relied on. It feels intense to withdraw from this kind of system, but when you stop participating, what changes isn't intention, it's visibility. Without a place for pressure to be absorbed, long-standing dynamics become incredibly transparent. The tension stops moving towards a node in the system, aka you, a sibling, someone else, whoever is exiting the role, and instead it just stays present. Over time, other nodes may start to see the system more clearly as well. Something to remember is that the system will always look for the fastest way to restore equilibrium. And the new reaction to the withdrawal of a role in the system has absolutely nothing to do with who you are now and has everything to do with what you're no longer holding. This is a byproduct of shedding the identity of who you were when you were inside the system and in the role. But when that happens, you don't have to do anything. Non-participation happens inevitably because you are operating from an entirely different nervous system, one that is differentiated from the distributed regulation system of the family. And it's the absence of action or the absence of the choreography that you'd otherwise play if you were still inside the system that is what allows the system to reveal itself. Here are a few uncomfortable truths that I've learned through the process of differentiation. Stability that depends on one person is not stability. Clarity always arrives as soon as you stop compensating. And systems don't collapse because someone leaves the role. They reveal what was being held together by the role. This work is supported by the people it serves. The patronage link in the description box below is how. Where are you still being reached for as a role that no longer fits? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching.